banking, unlocking new opportunities through data sharing and collaboration. For this, I would request our moderator for the discussion, that is Mr. Anilkumar Varma, CTO, Multi-Commodity Exchange Clearing Corporation Limited. He is currently serving as CTO at MCX-CCL, having 23 plus years expertise in digital transformation, driving innovation solution for complex architectures and large-scale projects. His career includes impactful roles at NSDL, Geo, L&T Infotech, and TCS, with significant experience working overseas in the USA, UK, Europe, and South Africa, managing large client engagements. Along with him, I would request our panelist, Mr. Ashis Rout, Senior Vice President, Tech and Digital, HDFC Bank, Mr. Himanshu K. Mishra, Executive Vice President and Head Special Project, Fino Payments Bank Limited, Mr. Sahil Anand, COO, Incred Premier, CA Navratan Bohra, Vice President, Digital Initiative, Ops and IT, Anand Rathi Shares and Stock Brokers Limited, Mr. Rupam Mazumder, Head Digital Product, Partnership and Innovation, Edelweiss Financial Service Limited, Mr. Aveek Chaudhuri, Head Digital Business and New Strategic Initiatives, Unity Small Finance Bank. Can we have a great round of applause for all of them?
And thanks, Gain Media, for honoring us to be part of this panel discussion on open banking, bringing new opportunities in case, through, let's say, data sharing or to any kind of collaborations. So what we will do is that, it's a big panel, okay, so just to give a brief intro, and then probably we can start. So while you all may be using open banking for a long, okay, so there have been a lot of transformational shift. I will leave our panel member will put some focus in terms of what they are experiencing and the challenges they are facing. To me, if you look at open banking, it's basically now it's in a transformational shift in the financial sector, which probably you may refer open banking is like a API. Truly, it's API-driven banking, and which basically financial institutions, tech firms, and others basically build on top of it to, let's say, empower the customers by providing more personalized product and services. At the same time, the traditional banking institutions and fintechs can collaborate to bring or to innovate new product and services. Okay. While open banking, we talk about more on technology, but if you look at it, is not about technology. It is more about in terms of empowering, let's say, customers, and by providing more, let's say, personalized financial services. It about more on financial inclusion, so where technology has not reached, basically you can serve those underserved populations. It's about new opportunities which where the collaborations can between the, let's say, fintechs, the banks, the regulators can all together bring more and more innovation. So what I will start with a thought to all of you that, one, that if you are using open banking, how much do you trust your data in a function, any financial institution, that they are secure and you can trust and do banking with them? Okay. So while there are lots of issues and security concerns, ransomware attacks continuously happening day by day, if you look at, not a single day is gone where there is no ransomware attacks happening in any Indian, especially Indian companies also. Okay. We keep on hearing news like that. So to start with, I will start with Rupam. Okay. How do you foresee the open banking transformation in financial sector in next, let's say, 5 to 10 years? What kind of transformational changes do you foresee?
Yeah, hello everybody, good afternoon. So firstly, open banking. See, what is open banking? So open banking is an interoperable data sharing, data access, data reading mode by which with the help of APIs, the financial inclusion and financial innovation is taking place in this time. Now we have come across a major landscape change in the whole BFSI landscape, and there has been a major role played by open banking there. Now it is helping everybody. So from a customer's perspective, it is giving me opportunities where I can see what are the solutions that are being catered to via marketplaces and all. And from a lender perspective and all, firstly, from underwriting perspective, you get data from different sources. You can have a leaner and a more well-tuned credit underwriting mechanism at your end. And also, as you are getting data of the customer, also alternate data and all, you can have different hyper-personalized offerings for the customer. Now, from also open banking plays a very important part in case of partnerships and all. These days we hear about different partnerships going on. Co-lending is one of them. There are different partnerships, mainly from the unsecured portfolio types where fintechs are also involved. So those are all possible because open banking infrastructure or framework is there. Now, as we can see here, from a BFSI landscape, open banking and the number of transactions, I think those are targeted or those are estimated to be growing at 3 to 4 times in the next 4 to 5 years, minimal. Now, what is more important here is that although BFSI, we see the growth and all of the transactions and all, I see open banking playing a major role in other industries also, be it embedded finance in e-commerce or your health tech, edutech industries, and also for fostering partnerships between different sectors in a financial domain to form a well cohesive financial network. So this is how I see open banking evolving and playing a part in the next 5 to 10 years.
And the same to Aveek, how do you see the next 5 to 10 years? What kind of a transformational shift going to come in?
Okay, first of all, good afternoon everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. To fill your question, I think the way we see open banking evolving is definitely, of course, is about unlocking the value that we have today within the entire ecosystem, and not just say banking or financial institutions only. So it is about harmonizing the entire ecosystem, getting it opened up, and allowing collaboration across parties. The few things which are getting more important, and I will rather call them themes within open banking, is one, as he mentioned, hyper-personalization. So offerings, product and service offerings through hyper-personalization is going to be one. Second is, I will rather say, solving some very ground challenges or removing silos where it exists today. For example, open banking, even today, is giving rise to say there are different models coming up. One of them is like connected banking. Now SMEs are also coming into the fold. So tomorrow it will be corporate. So it's now spreading across the spectrum. And I think third and more important is the data protection, privacy, and protocols. Now here I think there's a big role which the regulator will play in sort of laying out the guidelines and the way in which Europe has done for PSD2. Similarly, we will also see that. Very interestingly, of course, I think in my mind, I think account aggregator has been a great example of that, where the regulator is actually built a framework for for banks to share, for financial institutions, and it is aggregating at one point. It's one of the simplest but a very useful case of open banking in a way, right? And here, the applications of these are leveraging across the space, like you call from collections to onboarding to lending to underwriting. It covers the gamut of it. But we will have more and more in terms of personal finance getting more and more customized, wealth management getting more and more customized. Because, see, that is where I think in India, while we look at wealth management, it's always about either you invest in stock or mutual fund. Nobody talks about how do you manage your portfolio, how you build your portfolio. I think these are the things which are going to get more and more useful in the coming days, and we will see that collaboration happening across space.
I'll just give you an example. The talked about the current challenges from which we going to build it. Okay. So I'm in basically with MCX commodity derivative trading. So trading is where we experience how easy the customer can be onboarded to trade. So let's say it's one app where you can simply open a bank account, open a demat account, and to trade you need money, so you have a loan account. Okay, all coming in a single some few clicks, and within a minute, let's say you open and available to trade. This kind of things, which is current problem, you can build in, let's say, in near term, okay, and then subsequently build on top of it to give more and more user personalized experiences where they can able to, let's say, enable in our cases more in some of trading. So that can help. But then there are lies a lot of challenges, and particularly I would like to hear from Ashis, what are the primary challenges the financial institution faces when implementing this open banking, and how do you think someone can overcome these hurdles?
Good afternoon all. Yeah. Open banking, the concept, the jargon, the word, it's coming. It's not that it was not happening. It was happening from the day one, I mean, when the banking system has come. I mean, that time it was from mouth to mouth discussing, okay, this customer is good, that customer, his background is this, he has got 2 of the flats in Juhu or Bandra, so it's good, somebody can take this one. Now those data, those demographic data, the civil, the financial capability of repaying back, that's also available to every bank. Every bank, they make that decision based upon civil scores, based upon aggregators input, so that is there. But the challenge which is coming now, DPDP Act. There if you see the major portion is your customer consent. Like if I have given my few of the, whether it's a demographic data, okay, well I have got a flat here, I have got a plot here, and I'm looking for something here. I have given it for a particular bank, for a particular purpose. I haven't given that consent to others to use it. There will come the main challenge. Unless there is some standardization, some consent from legal framework is built, a standard framework which everybody has to accept, that is going to be the major challenge in banking or financial.
Actually, the DPDP Act with the consent management is a key for almost every organization, and it is the now, since it is an act, every organization has to mandatorily do that. Okay, and as in the morning I heard, forgot name. There will be heavy penalties if you are breaching the regulatory norms. So it's a big concern. But with that, I would like Navratan, if you can answer this data security concerns. So how do you think the financial institution can balance the need for data sharing with the imperative ensuring the data privacy and security?
So very good afternoon to all. I am Navratan Bohra from the Anand Financial Institutions. See, the concept of basically open banking is where we are extending the data to the financial services provided just to meet the requirement of basically you give an innovative product to a customer, right? But the first step basically is where we are, the first step for sharing the data basically is what rightly sir mentioned, is about the consent management. Unless and until there is an approval from the customer, you will not be able to share the data. Now there are so many financial institutions where we are doing a basically integration for to the customer transaction, the customer data, right? Now there should be has to be a standardized kind of system that can be you can say standardized ecosystem which we are building up. There can be a standardized API framework that need to be handled, and when that there are definitely lots of integrations challenges, but that can be probably solved with the help of like creating a standard API framework. Using of new technology, you are using some kind of encryption and decryption method when your data is basically in transit or when the data is basically at rest kind of thing. So what kind of basically tools you are using that will basically take care of your security compliance. Now, the recent act which is coming about Digital Data Protection Act, which has been recently launched, and now the rules have been also been laid out recently, which more precisely sharing not only with the transaction data, but you also need to take care about sharing of personal identifiable information of a customer. That is where the key challenges are coming into a picture, which has to be properly handled while you are handling. If that has been properly addressed, basically, your kind of the solution which you are offering to the customer can be properly given, because at the end, you can say there has been a shift from the earlier shift from enterprise centric to a customer centric. We are moving toward that landscape. Right, we are moving toward that kind of an era where we are trying to give some innovative product to a customer, right? And where we are basically coming as a financial institution to curate some kind of a wealth management product to a customer, right, based on the transaction information what we have. So while having that kind of consumption information, we can probably have that kind of technology tool which will help us for data security and compliance kind of thing.
Actually, how do I look at the challenges as an opportunity? Because if there are challenges, there is opportunity. The DPDP Act and consent management also brings lots of opportunity in terms of not only protection, but also how you are able to basically create a new innovative product which can bring safety and trust, which I asked to the audience also. Unless the people trust, they cannot, whatever benefit and opportunity you provide. So with that, I'll ask Sahil. Sahil, if you can talk about the opportunities, what opportunities this open banking creates for fintech companies and startups?
Okay. Hi, Sahil here. Good afternoon. I am from Incred Premium. So I'll take live examples of how we as a fintech are utilizing the entire open banking framework. So we have our own lending entity, Incred Finance. In that we have our account aggregator framework that has been built in. Now obviously we are not a bank, we do not have access to any of the data of the client. But with the account aggregator framework, with the consent of the consumer, we actually know what is the inflow, outflow, monthly transactions, balances, and so on, right? And with the appropriate consent, we can actually refresh this data as well. That helps us in the entire risk assessment and credit underwriting process. And we are a retail-focused NBFC. Hence, based on this data, we are actually able to reach out to a lot of those consumers who have been refused by banks because their data might not be available fully with those banks, or they might be underserved, they might be located at locations which are typically refused by banks. If you are from the lending industry, you would know there are certain PIN codes which are blacklisted. But here, because of the power of the data, we are actually able to understand if that particular profile, even though from that particular blacklisted PIN, is actually worth it to give a loan out, right? So that is one practical application in open banking for lending side. And I'm sure many of the lending entities are using it already. A second opportunity we have found is in wealth management. I think earlier we were envisaging how it is going to happen in the future. I'm happy to share we are there already. We have, for example, integrated the data from mutual funds, insurance, and so on. So we know what is your DP balance, we know what is your mutual fund holdings, we know what is the kind of insurance you have. Based on that, we are able to create a profile of the consumer. And we are able to recommend that what should you do. There are two examples where live examples I have. One of the clients we spoke to, he has been investing in mutual funds for around a decade. And he had made a transaction in a liquid fund in 2015 and completely forgotten about it. And because of our data integration, we were able to highlight that this is a money which is lying in a liquid fund, earning nothing, absolutely nothing, right, compared to what he would have made in equity markets. And we were able to get that money quickly deployed in one of the unlisted equity opportunities. Second example I have is from a client who had, because he was a traditional client and working with banks, had been sold a lot of insurance policies. We realized after getting his data that somewhere some of those policies were actually not right for him. And a lot of those were sold to him by various banks in the short term just to get the revenue out. So we optimized his portfolio, and he was comfortable with insurance only. So we asked him to close down certain things, take a term plan, and basically optimize his insurance portfolio deployment. So those things are actually going to help clients have a better portfolio optimized to their need from investment viewpoint, from protection viewpoint, and also to identify if there is some money which is lying somewhere. And all of you would have heard there is unclaimed deposits of thousands of crores with LIC and banks and so on. With these frameworks, a lot of people can actually benefit. So that is something that is going to help, I believe.
No, that's really true. And just to taking some clue from there, maybe I'll ask Ashis also if he can share his view on the these opportunities which can be created for the, let's say, fintechs or startups through this open banking.
Yeah, that can be done. I mean, it's not that I will not see now this FASTag. Is it a bank's product? No, it's a different product by a different company. And through API, it's getting through that whatever they fund, whatever the FASTag deduction or this. And thereby a lot of data is also generated. Those data for security purpose and usage purpose, and it can be leveraged to a lot of extent, unless otherwise it is used by the wrong people. Those data, if it is, I mean, take a use case like if those data comes out and somebody observes that so-and-so person is frequently going from this place to the another place. So that's a security issue, security threat. It's not that his data, but the data of his journey that is captured. And that is a threat to the life also, if you think from that perspective. Yes. So there has to be some protection to those data, who will use it, who is authorized to use it, and how it should be used. That's the main concern. It's not that it cannot be or it should not be. It's that how to use it, it should not go to a wrong person's hand. Then that is a major threat. Technically to stop it, yes, you have got lot many solutions, lot many tools, DLP, but at the end, after 2 layers of security, everything becomes quite open. I mean, the person who sits on this one counter, he gets those data handy at least for 5 customers or 10 customers per day. Then he passes it out to his friend. Then that friend passes it on to the next. So that way the bank can go for a lot of tools, security, ransomware, testing of vulnerability testing, application security testing. That data, bank should not be accountable for losing its data. That's true, that's great. But otherwise, after 2 layers of security, it really at times, that's the main concern, of course. No tool, nothing can be. Only the best way of usage, like most of the places now you see, Aadhaar card, we are just giving whenever we go to a hotel, we give the Aadhaar card and it says that the numbers are masked except the last 4 digits. Then you tend to give your full Aadhaar card, Aadhaar number. You don't have any option, but he doesn't understand. He says, I need the Aadhaar card. He doesn't, I mean, DigiLocker, he don't accept it. Although there is no government rule, you can have it, your data in DigiLocker and show it to the hotel. Your Aadhaar card is gone. Everything is, I mean, somewhere or other, your data are getting compromised. You give your Aadhaar card copy, the hotel person, he scans it and takes a printout and returns it. With that, you can take a
basically, if you look at the challenge is there that, but if you don't share the data, then how startups, let's say third party or fintech can build the way example you gave about the FASTag. unless the data is shared, it cannot be, right? At the same time, we also need to provide the personalized service, as Sahil was mentioning. So maybe I'll ask Rupam if he can
To the
talk.
right person.
To the right person with need to have basis or need to know basis.
Exactly.
Okay, only limited set data. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll ask Rupam. Not Rupam, maybe Himanshu, if you can answer. Okay, you holding for long. Okay.
No, that's fine.
How do you see that open banking fosters new personalized experiences in the financial services and product to the customer, and what technology can drive this?
Good afternoon all, and just a small disclaimer before I start. So whatever I'm going to say, it's as an individual and not the viewpoint of my organization. So the kind of data footprint we are leaving around us. One, the data what we talked about, open banking, where we are having a data share with the bank, between the banks, customer data with the third party, with account aggregator. Second is, though the data is different with different reports what I read, but around 80 crore smartphone users who are there in India. And the enormous data which is there through these smartphones. With a small tick done by us or accepted by us, as was mentioned by my friends here, stating that consent is mandatory. There's a small tick which said you can read my SMS. And the whole, as an individual, what you do, how much you spend on with restaurants, which toll you crossed, what you are doing, what time you are getting up in the morning, what time you are sleeping, what time the phone, screen time you have. A lot of data which is there through smartphone, which flows to the account aggregators. And then the kind of personalization of solution what we were discussing here. See, if say both of us say they are the same age, and we have been offered a say health insurance policy. Now, with the help of information which is there on the platter with the insurance company, gender same, age same. Earlier, there's a small checkbox and your premium is decided. But now the power which is there in the hand of insurance companies, where you can decide on the premium. Premium might be higher for me and lower for him because he go jogging in the morning. I don't do. I get up late in the morning, or the restaurant's bill will have the kind of outside food I'm having. So kind of personalization which is there possible. Not only that, especially in terms of financial inclusion, what he was also mentioning, that with us at least some structured data which is there. What happens if we are going in rural areas where how to offer them say assets, there we are having information on how much of electricity bill we are paying, how much of a gas we are paying, what kind of DBT which is coming or not coming, how much of phone bill, or what kind of information we are seeing on the screen time. So a lot of information which is already there, and with thanks to the technology which is there, and now with integrated, a lot of buzz which is there on around AI. But now bots you are having on system as hands, you are having co-pilot say as eye, and then the platform which is there with the eye who's intelligent enough without any manual intervention that can throw the data as whom to lend, what to lend at what interest rate.
So this personalized experience, I'll share one example. Maybe you all actually experienced this example. So I was recently booking a flight ticket from Mumbai to Prayagraj, and it was showing 12,000. Earlier I used to book, it was coming 6,000, okay, on typical days. So Kumbh is there, right? So I can expect 12,000. After an hour, I checked again, 12,000 was costly. It came 14,000. After, let's say, I thought now I have to book it, okay. Then I got stuck in a meeting, and then after I checked, it was 16,000. Oh goodness, is this a personalized experience the companies are leveraging to understand that someone is in need for some service? then you basically build on top of it and give a better profitability to the organization. And there is limited demand, supply, right? The number of seats are limited. And if you keep on searching, the price goes up, right?
10 seconds here. 2 days back, I booked one ticket from Mumbai to Nagpur at 15,000 rupees because of an emergency travel of one of my relative was traveling from Germany. His flight got delayed. I checked again the same sector. Next day morning, 6 o'clock flight. Earlier, when I checked, the price was almost similar. That 15K flight, which I booked for the same name, was at 7,000 only for the next day morning, which was earlier was around 14K. So the differences are so huge.
So there's something going, right? Some AI, some personalized experience, right? So just coming back to Rupam, okay, such kind of a things where the regulator need to come in terms of some guidelines, some SOP or some regulation. So how do you see that, in the financial institution, the role played by the regulators in terms of bringing some controls around it?
Yeah, so we all know what the regulator is doing nowadays, the DPTP Act and all, explicit consent from the customer, you ask for secured APIs and all. So one thing that we need to focus here is that, and this has to be a collaborative approach, where every stakeholder's input should be taken. Because ideally we don't want innovation at the cost of security and privacy. Nobody wants that. But if you make something stringent which hinders innovation, then there is no point doing that. So heartening to see that regulators have come up with OCAN, ONDCA platforms where they have designed those generic technical specs and all. So it does away with the complexity of implementation of the same. So request will be to have more discussions with the different stakeholders during the time of ideation, before implementation, so that post implementing something, there shouldn't be friction. They can take cues from what's happening in UK, EU and all, where they have done some good amount of work well in open banking space. This will be the only thing that the regulator needs to look at too.
True. So initially when I started, I asked one question to all of you that how do you build trust? How do you trust a financial institution your data is safe? Okay. What I would like now, all the panelists, one-liner, okay, how do you think you as a going to ensure safety of customer data and ensuring of data privacy and other controls? In one-liner, if you all can one by one answer, okay, what in terms of technology, process, or any other way do you think you can create a trust for the customers? So starting with Aveek.
I think, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to gauge that what you are asking is that among all of
bringing the customer trust with your financial institutions.
Sure. So I think the most important factor, which which we keep on hearing and facing, is that consent. Assuring the customer that, that the data is yours, it's safe with us, and it's not going to be shared with anyone without your consent.
So Rupam.
Yeah, to be fair and maintaining transparency with the customer, what he told. Nothing should be hidden. Whenever you're orchestrating any journeys and all, everything should be clean and clear for him to see and then go ahead with the same.
Navratan?
Yeah, I would also go with the consent as the first part. Unless and until customer give me a consent, I will not be able to share any data with anyone.
Sahil?
Consent and maybe anonymization of the data within your systems. So you really don't need to store those things, right? Google is able to operate and create a unique identifier with your browsing history and cookie data, right? So maybe something can be done wherein you build a logic and you anonymize your data. No one in your system is able to actually see the data apart from the consumer.
So before coming to Himanshu, consent, you take consent, what if you still share the data? Okay. Consent, user can see on the screen, okay, I have given my consent. what goes behind the scene in API, what goes behind the communication between the two parties, nobody knows, right? Nobody confirms what to the public or on their website, like what I'm sharing, right? So no more consent, maybe something what you think.
Kind of frameworks which are there, the kind of regulations which are there, with that I can have full trust on the model. But on the same time, the data which is there with the third parties and the kind of regulated that entity, because one entity who is bank regulated by RBI, listed, regulated by SEBI as well, and then an entity which is not regulated but regulated by these norms, the hacking can be a risk which is always there.
Sir, yours.
Yeah.
Ashis, maybe.
More than consent, bank protecting your data. As a customer, if I am a customer, I should mind my own data. I should be avoiding more of social posting. Oh, well, on 31st night, I went to so-and-so and spent so much, and put my picture on the Facebook, WhatsApp status. Those things actually, the crooks, they capture those data. And they built the model that to whom the things can be taken up.
Okay, nice. So just to wind up, because already alarmed, two things from this session. One, that while there are lots of things happening in open banking space, especially started with Europe with the Payment Service Directive 2, where it's basically brought up the lot of innovation and in the fintech world. Here in India, it's a UPI, account aggregator, and Aadhaar enabled services, okay, maybe payment, other services, face recognition. So a lot of things are happening. What is required is more is a collaboration, because that's where fintech, the regulator, and then the financial institutions can work together to bring a more and more better innovative product and solution. That's, I think, would be the key takeaway from this whole session with the panel member. So thank you all, and thank you panel members for being here, and it's a esteemed honor for me to moderate this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay back on the stage. And to do the honor, I would request Mr. Shami Kapoor on the dais.